Well, welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the house it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Being kind is the guys in this mess in the first place.
You can put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And before we get started out, how's everybody doing? I wanted to tell you a bit about a new short serial crowdfunded translation project that I'm doing. There is this, I think I talked about it a bit last week, but there is this legendary Chilean left magazine called Punto Final that ran from 1965 to 2018. They were banned and interrupted for like 16 years. They dictatorship when the coup happened banned them, but they came back in 1989. The co-founder and director of the magazine, Manuel Caballese Donoso, just died the other day. Y bueno, mi más sentido pésame a todos los compañeros que han trabajado con él. I have a number of friends who worked with him in various capacities. But anyway, their historical archive on the period of like 1968 till the coup in 73 is full of very interesting analysis and reporting that has aged extremely well. Now, I threw a link up on the in chat that will direct you to the translations I've already done as part of the project. The current translation that I'm working on in this project is an article I'm trying to raise $450 to cover the cost of, and it is an article called "The Christian Democratic Party is Trafficking in Gold Coins," one of various exposés they did on the extremely dodgy funding of what were at the time the governing party in Chile, who also happened to have been bankrolled by the CIA starting in 1962, and the leader of the party, who at the time the article in question was written was the president of Chile, was fully aware of this no later than 1964. We know all this from declassified documents. So that is a project I'm working on, and all support for it is, of course, very, very much appreciated. For anyone who wants to contribute to the cost of that, I'm just going to drop another link in chat. Meanwhile, the Young Turfs are once again up to some shit. Anna Kasparian decided to just do a little neo-Nazi dog whistle. And I thought the first thing we might look at is, this is from Wally Rashid, who's, I hadn't heard of him, but judging from his channel, he's one of these people who is trying to sort of hijack Palestinian solidarity activism and move it in a direction white nationalists would like it to move in. And he wonders why it's such a big deal that Anna Kasparian is dog whistling neo-Nazis. So we're going to look at that first.
Anna Kasparian.
Okay, first of all, just look at the tweet here. She says, "Hey bitch, the Goyim are waking the fuck up, deal with it." Which has, okay, one thing to notice about this is it doesn't say anything about Israel, it doesn't say anything about Zionism. And also, if you pay any attention to neo-Nazis at all, you know that one of their big slogans is variations on "the Goyim know." That is a thing that they like to use a lot, in fact. I considered, I did an image search for it to prove this point, a Google image search, before the stream, and it was so full of rank Nazi bullshit that it occurred to me it might get the stream taken down. So if you want to do that, If you want to check it out, you will see what I'm talking about if you do a Google image search for that phrase. But I'm not going to do it on here. Just trust me, it's there's some nasty shit on there, so brace yourselves. So, okay, what does Wally Rashid have to say about this?
Is getting attacked by the pro-Israel mob. Honestly, she's causing a firestorm on social.
I mean, yes, the first person on here is the first person in the replies is clearly a pro-Israel troll. That's true. But the thing is, this isn't an anti-Zionist quote. Like, there's nothing about Zionism in it. It's just, it is Alana Kasparian dog whistling to neo-Nazis. And you really cannot seriously, it just absolutely buggers credulity to suggest that she didn't know that, because she and Cenk have been sucking up to the far right for the better part of a year now, a little bit more than that probably. So she knew exactly what she was doing here. I mean, Goyim just means not Jewish. The overwhelming majority of Zionists in the world are Goyim, like more than 9 out of 10.
Media over this tweet, which I find interesting, the amount of backlash and the amount of people responding to this, the amount of views, and she responded back to somebody.
Wow, it's surprising that a prominent social media figure and just media personality who has been doing a very thoroughly choreographed move to the far right for a year now is getting. Actually not, is getting a whole lot of responses. Wait, this isn't even the original tweet. This is somebody screenshotted it. So the reply isn't a reply to the tweet. It's a reply to whoever screenshotted her tweet.
And all she said was this right here, hey bitch, the Goyim are waking the F up, deal with it. And it really, really upset a lot of people. And so I really want to kind of dissect that before I do.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, I'm very interested. Is he going to mention where that comes from?
Didn't make a follow-up statement after she posted that because it got so much backlash. And I want to talk about why it got so much back.
Okay.
Got so much backlash, and I want to talk about why it got.
Okay, and not surprisingly, she said, okay, she's pinned this. Says she does not regret this comment. Which, wait, Israel is evil, genocidal, and has destroyed our country. Like, Israel has destroyed. Is she saying that Palestine is her country? Or is she from some part of the U.S. that I'm not familiar with that the IDF has been bombing? Because I don't think that's quite true. They're about to drag us into another war. It's like, no, they're not. The U.S. is not going to go into a war with fucking Iran if the U.S. doesn't want to. Like, this is, again, very much just really welcoming the sort of white nationalist infiltrators who have always plagued the Palestine solidarity movement, have always tried to turn it into either let's get the US to do imperialism better, or let's just do anti-Semitic conspiracies all the time and, basically not give a shit about the Palestinians.
So much backlash. So she goes ahead and quote tweets that just for.
Like, Israel has destroyed this country? What the fuck does that even mean? She wrote this from L.A. I think. That's where she's from, isn't it? She's in L.A.? Like, did the IDF attack L.A. that I don't know about?
Earlier, just a couple hours ago or a few hours ago. And she says, I do not regret this comment. I don't apologize.
Yeah, I mean, of course not, because this is deliberate positioning. Like, if you were specifically trying to get support from people who are supporting Palestinian rights, you could, there's all sorts of things you could say. You could say free Palestine, globalize the Intifada, from the river to the sea. There are plenty of pro-Palestinian, anti-Zionist slogans you could do if that's who you're trying to express your support for. What she did here was something that actually avoids expressing any support for Palestinians at all, and instead is just like dog whistling to Nazis.
Israel is an evil genocidal. Israel is evil, genocidal, and has destroyed our country.
I mean, Israel is evil and genocidal, yes. I mean, yeah, absolutely true.
About to drag us into another war.
No. Like, if Israel had the power to drag the U.S. into wars, the U.S. would have attacked Iran a long time ago. I mean, let's just remember that how the U.S. convinced Israel to go along and support the war against Iraq, which they were not keen on, because from Israel's perspective at the time, Iraq wasn't any kind of a threat, and they were worried that any kind of ground war might actually turn it into a threat. So, like, what Bush did at the time was say, don't worry, Iran is next. And it's been over 20 years. So, if Israel had the power to drag the U.S. into wars, that probably would have happened sooner, is all I'm saying.
And all we hear from Israelis and their brain-dead supporters is anti-Semite. If you disagree with Israel's agenda...
Like, she...
They smear you to
this is just a perfect example of a non sequitur.
Violence and all the Jewish individuals who don't subscribe to their disgusting behavior. Israel loves to play victim as they bomb 7 countries, steal land, and openly air their genocidal intentions.
I mean, again, this is absolutely true, and this is what makes it insidious. This is precisely why this sort of far right infiltration has long been an insidious thing, because they'll do sort of the Maupin style thing, where they will say a bunch of things that are totally, like, unobjectionable, that you would not say anything is wrong with, and then they will just kind of, depending on who you're talking to, either very, very explicitly or somewhat subtly move it into this idea of Israel as puppet master. They never explain what the mechanism is, how that's supposed to work. Like, they try to sort of, they hand wave to the fucking lobby. Cenk and Anna do like to hand wave to the lobby because they don't want to talk about imperialism. Hey, River Rune. But fundamentally, when it comes to explaining exactly why that particular lobby supposedly has so much power, it's just sort of a vague, amorphous thing.
They are the immoral ones. It is a stain on our country that we consider them allies.
Allies. They're a fucking puppet state.
Many have woken up to this reality. Call me whatever you want. The truth matters, and I'll never apologize for repeating it.
Like, I mean, again, she could have said, people are waking up to what Zionism is all about. And a lot of people who would criticize this would have no problem with it. Like, the pro-Israel ghouls would, of course, be all over either that, too. But in this case, what she's done is actually anti-Semitic. So, she's managed to not only just be anti-Semitic, I mean, she's found a way to screw over Palestinians, because it's Palestinians who are often the first to call this shit out, because they know perfectly well how much it sabotages their liberation struggle to be associated with fascists, to be associated with, like, Nazi shit.
And so she's basically stating that people are waking up to the fact that this is all going on.
No, she isn't. That's not what she said.
And here's the issue I have with all of this, is that every single minority group, literally every single minority group that has slurs used against them has the ability to reclaim those slurs. African American community slurs.
Oh, okay, so what is the minority group here? The minority of people who are not Jewish? Last I checked, that's most people.
That were used against them in the past, they've reclaimed them.
I mean, like, those aren't the slurs specifically used about the Palestinians. They have very specific, like, Zionists have very specific slurs for the Palestinians in English and Hebrew. This is a term that means literally almost all people. Because there are 14 million Jews on the planet, and there are like 8 billion people, I think, last I checked. So, I mean, I don't know how he calculates minority versus majority, but last I checked, Goyim are not, in fact, a minority.
Gay men, same thing. They've reclaimed slurs used against them, and the list goes on and on and on. Eventually, people might want to reclaim those slurs used against them. Any group of people that is having a slur used against them, they reclaim it. A pedophile used the term Goyim repeatedly in the Epstein files. Jeffrey
So what?
Epstein used that term repeatedly.
Yeah, lots of people use that fucking term. Like, what's your point? I mean...
To refer to all of us, and people are reclaiming it, one, because it's...
What do you mean people are reclaiming it? Which people? Which people are reclaiming it, Wally?
funny
How?
that an elite, rich, sick man is using this word so abundantly.
But the thing is, the people he's talking about were reclaiming it way before we had access to the Epstein files. In fact, way before Epstein was really a topic of conversation. Like, the Goyim No is something that you could see, like, 10 years ago at fucking Fash demos.
Us. I'm going to be honest, I think that every single time a slur is used against a group of people, it's been reclaimed. I really don't see the issue. I really don't see the issue here.
Of course you don't see the issue, because you like the people she's dog whistling to.
I find it interesting that this is causing so much mayhem, because, to me, why...
Yes, it's Anna transphobia, and she decided to just do a straight-up shout-out to Nazis.
Not, why are the people that are reclaiming the slur that's being used against them?
Like, also, I also have a little bit of trouble with the term slur in this case. Because, I mean, yes, it is not, it is a pejorative, certainly, but to me, it is, what makes something a slur has to do with power relations. And the term Goyim comes, I mean, it originates in this particular usage from a situation in which the people who are using it were actually on the uncomfortable end of the power relations. The people who, like, I mean, that is, so it's like literally the opposite of what he's talking about, unless, of course, you indulge in the sort of far-right bullshit that Wally does, in fact, indulge in.
Now under the hot seat, instead of...
Under the hot seat?
People that are using the slur in a derogatory way. Now, I've talked to a lot of Jewish people that have told me, and I have Jewish friends as well, you know, obviously very, very anti-Zionist, very anti-Zionist.
I mean, I'm not sure why anti-Zionists would fuck with this guy, though, because, I mean, the stuff that he does actually really does not challenge Zionism. In fact, it's the sort of stuff Zionists... See, Zionists love to be attacked by people like this because they can... Okay, what the hell is that? Oh, hell. Not sufficient disk space to continue recording. I thought I had cleared space off. Okay, hang on just a second. Sorry about this. I had gone halfway on the process of clearing space on my hard drive, on my SSD last night. I had to clear off space on an external drive in order to make space on my main external drive where I keep all of my stream highlights. And the result of that is that I, like, lost track of time, and I didn't do the part where I cleared off the space from my videos folder on my computer so I would have space to record. Glad to know it's just that and not my, not the stream crapping out as has happened a few times. Oh god. A few months ago, Riveroon says, literal neo-Nazis were making thirst edits of Anna after she did something on TYT that looked like an anti-Semitic caricature. What was the deal there? I completely missed that. It does not surprise me, because again, these are people they have been courting. Like, when you hang out with, like, fucking Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk and all those pricks, those are the people you're courting.
And they'll tell me, well, that word doesn't, it just means non-Jew. It doesn't.
Yeah, that is what it means.
Have that sort of connotation. But
yeah, okay, so his Jewish friends are telling him right.
People add that connotation to it, so it really just depends on the way you say it. Regardless, me and them crack jokes about it all the time now.
Yeah, well, yes, but first of all, I mean, considering how willing he is to indulge in just white nationalist propaganda on this issue, I have to wonder about these Jewish friends a little bit. I have to wonder about any of his friends, actually. But the thing is that what she did was not just use the word goyim. I mean, not my favorite word, I should say, personally. But she used it in a very specific context, in a context that is evocative of a million Nazi memes.
Dang it, because it's been so abundantly used in the Epstein files. People are bringing it up. People are questioning it. Again, I really don't think this is a big deal. You know what's more?
Of course you don't.
A more big deal. What's more a big deal is the fact that Israel is butchering Palestinian kids. So this,
like, see, the thing is, you can care about more than one thing. You can care about Israel butchering Palestinian kids, and you can care about the fact that fascists are trying to hijack the movement to stop Israel doing that, so they can turn it into a worthless racist thing.
Idea that I'm supposed to stop everything I do and worry about. And actually, before I say that, let me go ahead and show my disclaimer here. Again, this is not intended to promote hate towards any group of people.
Oh, that is such an interesting... I've never heard anyone have to put that sort of a disclaimer up.
We're just discussing obvious facts and reporting on what is...
well, I mean, it's like he's kind of avoiding an obvious fact.
Reporting on things that are being established. Great. Now that I got that out of the way, I have to say that I really don't want my video to be demonetized.
But, like, does that even work? If you do a video that is nothing but, like, say, just straight up hate speech, nothing else, and you put a disclaimer saying this video is not intended to promote hate, does that work? Like, what the hell is that? That's like that bogus sovereign citizen Facebook disclaimer that goes around every few years where it's like, I do not consent to let Facebook use my pictures. Like, you could just post that in a status and it would have some kind of legal effect.
Now that I say that, ultimately, why the hell does any of this matter? I find it really actually, you know what's more offensive? You know what I find more offensive? I find it more offensive that people, typically Jewish Zionists and Christian Zionists, that are going around justifying the murder of kids, then freak out and they start having heart palpitations.
Like, I mean, he's making it very easy for himself by just making it about Zionists objecting to this. And yeah, when Zionists object to this shit, they're completely full of shit. They have absolutely no moral high ground to object to any kind of racism. They have no moral high ground to object to any kind of fucking slurs or anything like that. And certainly not to fascist dog whistles and even just neo-Nazi stuff, because Zionists and neo-Nazis get along great. So yeah, that's bullshit. But the thing is, a lot of people who oppose Zionism also have a problem with Nazi dog whistles.
Over people using words like goyim, while every single day they're justifying the slaughter of babies. And you think I'm supposed to give a damn that you feel that you're offended by us using simple words?
I mean, it's like he's making it so easy for himself.
I think that we've all lost the plot. We've all lost the plot.
Oh, I agree. Wally Rashid has lost the plot to the extent he has ever had it.
People are freaking out over Anna Kasparian using this simple word. that I honestly, I just want to shift the Overton window as fast as possible because this is...
Oh, yeah, of course he wants to shift the Overton window to where we don't care about a very clear neo-Nazi dog whistle. I mean, if you look at his channel, you can see why.
ridiculous. Today, a Palestinian child, I made a video on it, a Palestinian child today.
In fact, I mean, the worst thing you could possibly do if you actually give a shit about, like, the Palestinian liberation struggle is exactly what he's doing here. Suggesting you can care about Nazi shit and think that Nazi shit is bad, or you can care about... Oh, but that somehow detracts from caring about Palestinians. Because what he's doing there... That implicitly equates Palestinians with Nazis. He is implicitly equating them. He's suggesting that caring and wanting to help Palestinians win their liberation is somehow detracted from by wanting to oppose Nazis.
Was bled to death by IDF soldiers. They stood around, then they placed a rock next to him, and they took a photo of him with the rock to make it seem like he tried to assault them, and then he died.
Oh god, she did rubbed her hands together with a mean face like... Yeah. Oh, so, yeah, now I see why they were fucking thirst editing that. Because that's the Happy Merchant. She was doing the fucking Happy Merchant.
Okay, so this stuff is happening, and you want me to give a damn what the hell that somebody is using the word goyim, while the people that are repeatedly using that word are the ones that are justifying the murder of kids? I'm having a really, really tough time. And again...
Yeah, I mean, there is a... When you have that hand gesture that you're talking about, there is a specific caricature that is actually much more recent. That another Nazi thing, and it's generally known as the Happy Merchant. And again, I'm not going to show it on here. Do a fucking image search at your own peril. I don't know what would get me taken down. I would, really, I don't think Nazi shit would get anyone taken down. Otherwise, a lot of the stuff that we watch on here wouldn't be there. But, yeah, I mean, she was doing the fucking Happy Merchant. Jesus fucking Christ.
No, this is, a generalization, because ultimately we know that 85, 90%, 80%, somewhere in that broad range of Jewish people tend to be Zionists.
I mean, that is what Zionists say. What's interesting is that if you actually look at the available polling, there isn't a whole lot of polling that specifically looks at Jewish opinion. And when you look at the polling that does, what's really remarkable, if you look at it over time, as I've done, like the American Jewish Council's poll is one of the more comprehensive ones of its sort, and the nice thing is you can go back and see the questions they ask, and the questions that keep changing. Specifically, they used to ask questions that it would elicit respondents' opinions about Israel, about what Israel was doing, about stuff like that. And sometime in the past decade, they decided they were going to stop asking that stuff. Which is really interesting because around 2009, this we know, I mean, Norman Finkelstein pointed it out back when it just came out. They were finding that young Jews, in particular, Jews under 30 at the time, had a very low opinion of Israel.
It's just that's at least what I see continuously reported. There are some that aren't. Ultimately, I really don't. It really doesn't matter, because every single anti-Zionist Jewish person that I've met so far is jokingly using this word now that it's came out in the Epstein files.
I mean, like, who the hell is he talking about? Like, I know a fair number of anti-Zionist Jewish people, myself included, and I don't know anyone who's using it. And actually, this is the first time I've seen anyone remark on whether on its supposed presence. I can't confirm it because I've done some searching in the Epstein files for other things. I wasn't specifically looking for the word goyim, as apparently he did.
And jokingly using it in humor with me right now. So have we all really lost the plot? Watch how many U.S. politicians are going to start coming out condemning Anna Kasparian.
Well, yes, and the thing is that what she did actually is something that's worth condemning, because she's dog whistling to neo-Nazis. And the thing is that when you're in a movement in solidarity with other people, you've got to be somewhat careful to make sure that you don't end up wiping a bunch of fucked up shit onto their liberation struggle that they then have to try to clean off.
This is how far we've kind of gotten. I'm in Europe right now. I'm here for a humanitarian mission trip to Gaza, and you know what's really refreshing? I've been walking around Europe, and right now I've been walking around Spain too, and I was looking, and I was like,
I mean, Spain is also in Europe. So yes, if you're walking around Spain, you're walking around Europe.
Wow, there's a lot of signs that are talking about end the genocide in Gaza and this and that. And I was looking, I was like, this would never fly in the United States. This would never fly. Every single one of these flyers or banners would be listed as anti-Semitic.
Well, I mean, I imagine there are probably parts of the U.S. where you could probably find a fair amount of that. Certainly there's a lot of pro-Palestine, street art.
I saw a big-ass banner that said F Israel, F-U-C-K Israel, the whole thing. And I was just thinking, holy shit, the Anti-Defamation League would be going after...
Well, the Anti-Defamation League doesn't give a shit about anti-Semitism. They give a shit about Israel. That's why Elon Musk can do Nazi shit and Asmongold can do Nazi shit, and they don't care.
This banner right now. Big-ass banner. Big-ass banner.
Okay, so that's one jabroni down. And since we're on the subject of the Young Turfs, Junk Uyghur or Uyghur, I guess he pronounces it. I look at that and I immediately pronounce it the Turkish way, but apparently he doesn't. I don't know. I try to pronounce things what I know to be the correct way, or at the very least, the way they prefer. But that one I struggle with because I spend a lot of time working on my Turkish pronunciation. But okay, this is Cenk's State of the Union. I'm sure this is I wonder if he's going to manage to do it without a rant about people criticizing him for glazing Nazis.
Sucks. We're in a lot of trouble, guys. So why? First, let's talk about domestic policy. Oh, yay, we passed $4 trillion tax cut. How many tax cuts are we going to pass? Of that, $1.1 trillion alone was for people making above $500,000 a year.
Also known as the middle class.
They need an extra trillion? So the $38 trillion debt is about to go to $42 trillion on those tax cuts alone. But wait, they're giving away more of your money. So the Pentagon, we asked them to cut it. Both.
Link spam. Hello, link spam. Add to block list.
Both the right wing and the left wing asked them to cut it. And what did the Congress do? They said, no, we're going to add.
The right wing and the left wing did not ask them to cut it. There was, the mainstream of the right wing was very much in favor of more Pentagon spending, because they always are. They always want more fucking war spending in this country. I love how he's doing what Caleb Maupin did for a while, where it was Trump stands for peace and shit, except he's managed to convince himself enough that he can say it with a straight face that the right wing wants to cut the Pentagon budget.
To it, and they are up to nearly $1 trillion. And now Pete Hegseth proposed, Donald Trump agreed, and they're having a conversation about bringing it up to $1.5 trillion. Today I read an article about how...
the last U.S. administration to spend more on social welfare than war was Nixon.
Even the Pentagon and even all the pork lords in the Defense Department and defense contractors don't know how to spend all that money.
I'm pretty sure they have a pretty good idea how to spend it. It's going to be weapons and subsidies to high-tech industry. It looks like a lot of it is going to be subsidies to AI companies in order to prop up that bubble.
It feels like the donor class is going in for one last giant robbery before they get caught.
Like, I mean, I would like to think that it's one last giant robbery. I have actually said this. In the case of Israel, I do feel like the frenzied way they are just attacking everything they can that is within their reach, it really does suggest on a certain level that, and, you know, trying to just speed run the ethnic cleansing of the West Bank and everything suggests to me they kind of know time's running out. But what exactly makes Cenk think that the ruling class here thinks their time is running out that soon?
Because they are about to get caught by the American people. We're all sick of it. They never...
Like, what is he... I mean, what's his strategy? Like, I mean, I agree. This crisis of legitimacy, which has been latent for a very long time and has been erupting more and more in the past decade, I think that is a matter of time. But, I mean, his theory of change tends to involve electing Democrats or sucking up to Nazis or like both.
Do anything for us, but meanwhile, giant giveaway to the rich and the tax cuts, giant giveaway to the defense contractors at the Pentagon, and then of course the elephant in the room, Israel.
I mean, the thing is, when you compare the amount of money the U.S. sends to Israel to the Pentagon budget, it is really kind of funny to call it the elephant in the room. Because if the Pentagon was forced to live on Israel money, there would be a military coup.
Oh, non-stop giveaways to Israel. Trump just gave them $4 billion, and before that he gave them $8.6 billion.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a lot of money compared to what they should be getting, which is zero. But like, compared to the federal budget, that's not noticeable. That's a statistical error. And it's just, the people will sometimes do this thing where it's like, look at all this. The reason you can't have like functioning railways or healthcare is that they gave $8 billion to Israel, and it's like, I mean, look, they shouldn't be giving money to Israel. Fuck Israel, but that's like that. That's like saying that the reason you can't afford a house is that you spent the money on like a latte. The amounts of money we're talking about are orders of magnitude apart.
Before that, we can give them the $4 billion every year. Before that, Biden gave them $21 billion. We attacked Iran for them.
Well, no, we attacked Iran for the U.S.
Actually, now we're going to go back and attack Iran again? That's I'm sorry, Iran. Did I say Iraq? It gets confusing because they're using the same exact talking points for Iran.
I mean, does Cenk actually think that the U.S. empire has any agency at all? Does he just think everything is just, oh, Israel, like, if the U.S. does it, that means Israel wants it? A country that, as he just pointed out, is dependent on U.S. aid? And if Israel had that kind of control, why would they only be getting single-figure billions from a budget that runs to trillions?
You remember all the press saying like, oh, in Iraq, I can't believe we said weapons of mass destruction when it turned out there weren't any.
Actually, what was remarkable is how little introspection in the press there was about that. Like, they just moved on. They acted like we were as surprised as everyone to find out there weren't weapons of mass destruction as we uncritically parroted the administration's line. Alone in the world, it's worth noting, because if you read press from practically anywhere else in the world, you would find lots of very skeptical discussion of those claims. Like, they took absolutely no responsibility for that.
In this case, Trump's like, we destroyed their nuclear facilities, and 30 seconds later, he's like, and we have to destroy their nuclear program. You just destroyed it. What, are you going to double destroy it?
Well, he didn't do it the first time, Cenk. That's the point. He was trying to, like, claim an undeserved W in order to get out of a situation that was embarrassing.
So no, it's just garbage to try to get you to fight Israel's war for it. The other giant elephant in the room is the Epstein files. Okay, guys, they've been protecting these predators for decades. Epstein was part of Iran-Contra, so CIA has known about him since the 1980s.
I didn't know that he's connected with Iran. I'm not entirely surprised if he was. He seems to be in the kind of circles where you'd have that sort of a connection. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously he was working for intelligence. That's very clear.
So our government doesn't represent us. The State of the Union is in a disastrous shape.
Like, of course, is he just noticing that the U.S. government does not represent the people of the country? I mean, he's been broadcasting for 20 years now, at least, probably a little bit longer. He's been on YouTube since YouTube was on YouTube. Is he just noticing that we live in capitalism and the government represents the ruling class?
And we haven't even started the Iran war yet. That is going to go
Yes, we have, actually. I mean, this is a thing that actually really is extremely infuriating. Because the people just accept this framing that when the U.S. cuts off, like, economically blockades a country, that isn't a form of warfare. Even though the U.S. has killed more people that way than with open war. I mean, blockades are an act of war. Economic warfare absolutely is warfare. So yeah, the U.S. has actually been waging war against Iran in various ways for years.
I am right. We'll see. My guess is it's going to go very poorly, disastrously. And it's going to drive...
I mean... poorly for whom? I mean, yes, it will. Like, the last time, the reason that Trump decided to just sort of declare victory like that was because it was a disaster for Israel, it's worth noting.
Down further, prices are still up at the supermarket. Housing prices are still up. None of that got fixed. All there's been is giant...
Yeah, we're still in capitalism.
...waste to the donor class. And then there's the AI apocalypse coming. So all of the...
What AI apocalypse is he talking about?
Wall Street is bragging. Oh my God, AI is going to wipe out all these jobs. It's going to lead to efficiencies, and you're all going to have cooking robots.
Yeah. I mean, and the wild thing about this, I mean, if you're on LinkedIn, or as I call it, sad Facebook, you see, you get just bombarded with AI shills. Your feed is full of them. It's actually hard to find the people you're actually connected with, because there are so many people shilling for AI, and they get more and more desperate as time goes by. Because if you listen to the CEOs of these companies, they keep on talking about how the problem is that they haven't found a use case for this technology. Like, nobody's adopting it, nobody's using it, nobody wants it. Jensen Huang and the CEO of Microsoft, whose name escapes me, have been complaining about how people call the god-awful crap that Gen AI outputs slop, and it's hurting the credibility of their entire scam that ordinary people describe this crap that way. Because it suggests that maybe people don't like the crap. And if people don't like the crap that AI makes, then maybe AI is overvalued. And if AI is overvalued, then Jensen Huang and a bunch of other people in the handful of companies that are puffing this bubble up in the first place are going to lose a shitload of fucking money.
But we're going to get rid of 25% of our workforce. Wait, hold on. Say that last part again?
Like, how? They still haven't managed. Everybody who tried to adopt AI in the first place to try to make it do useful things has been moving back, because it turned out it made more work than it eliminated, because it fucked things up so badly that human actual workers had to go back and spend more time fixing it than they would have spent doing it properly in the first place.
You're going to get rid of 25% of your workforce? That's us.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting desperate. That's the thing is, they're not. They would love to. That is the goal. They would very much like to be able to do that. And yeah, I mean, there are probably jobs that a clanker could do. I think TYT is an example. Clankers could do this. Polymarkets will probably just fucking deepfake Jenk at some point, because he is such just a walking cliche that you probably could just deepfake him and nobody would tell the difference.
They're going to get rid of us. And what did Trump say about AI? Nothing. Is he prepared?
Well, I mean, his government has said a lot about AI, because they've been propping up the bubble. They have been forcing government procurement to use this stuff for sensitive applications, despite the fact that it is clearly incapable of doing that reliably.
For the AI apocalypse and the massive unemployment that it's going to bring? Not at all. So prices are still up, but unemployment is now rising. So economically, we're in terrible shape. And
well, somebody's in good shape. That's the thing about a capitalist economy. No matter how bad things get, somebody's laughing all their way to the bank.
Militarily, we're starting wars in Venezuela and Iran and maybe Cuba and maybe Greenland. Total insanity. So I believe that the State of the Union is on the brink of collapse.
I mean, I don't think he's wrong there. I don't know. I think it's a long brink, to the extent that a brink can have a length. But I mean, people, I've seen this meme go around where people are like, it really sucks to have been born at the tail end of the fuck around period and live your adult life in the find out period. But I don't think we're in the find out period yet. I think we are in the absolute tail end of the fuck around period. The find out period is not going to be like this. Because the find out period is when appeasement stops. The find out period is when all these countries that try to sort of posture on the right side of history but don't want to piss off the US finally say, we've achieved nothing with this. They just keep on they keep on just attacking harder every time we try to appease them. It is time to bring them to heel. And when that happens, then we will be in the find out period.
So it's not that the stock market isn't up. The Dow's about 50,000. Woo! Okay, oh, the rich must be so happy. And his billionaire cabinet gets up in the fake State of the Union given by Donald Trump. They're like, yes, tax cut for us. Yes, the Dow's about 50,000. And then a second later, he's bragging about, we cut Medicare. Medicaid, I should say. Yeah, you didn't save anything. You just took it away from people.
Well, yeah, that's what they mean when they talk about savings. They mean taking shit away from people.
And you gave it to Scott Bessent, your Treasury Secretary, who probably made billions from your tax cut. So, guys, if the very rich have never been richer, the middle class has never been poorer.
I mean, enough with the fucking middle class. I saw an article recently. I didn't read the thing. I read the headline was enough for these purposes. But it goes, the middle class is increasingly selling plasma to make ends meet. And it's like, if you're having to vend your bodily fluids in order to make rent, and that still counts as middle class, then the term means nothing. And indeed, the term does mean nothing, because when you hear about a middle-class tax cut, it will invariably include and primarily benefit the top 10%. But at the same time, you'll hear the middle class are increasingly homeless. Well, in what sense are they fucking middle class then? What does that even mean? Because it used to be that if you were unhoused, you were considered to be not middle class because obviously, like it used to be, we would talk about the term middle class in U.S. discourse. Yeah, it meant that at the very you either owned a home or were well on your way to doing so. And now it means that you're either a billionaire or you live under a bridge. Like, we need to kill that fucking term. It's worthless. It has nothing to do with the reality.
And it doesn't look like our politicians represent us at all.
Are you just noticing this?
It doesn't even look like they represent this country.
I mean, what does it mean to represent a country, though? If they certainly represent the ruling class of this country. The ruling class of this country, as Jank has pointed out, are doing very well.
So I believe that disaster is impending. I hope
I would have said disaster's already here. I mean, like, what was COVID? Was that not disaster? What's this fucking war on trans people? Well, I mean, I mean, Jank probably is kind of cool with that, I think. Kansas just auto-revoked all trans people's driving licenses, and they apparently have a list of trans people they're working from because they sent trans people a letter informing them of this with no grace period. So just overnight, all trans people in Kansas who had a Kansas driving license can't drive anymore. Like, I would call that disaster. I would call what fucking ICE is doing disaster. Like, and yet I do also say that we're not in the find out period because, again, the world is still kind of trying to appease the U.S.
But I think that is the actual state of our union.
Okay, so now, just moving through our little jabroni selection, let's see what Ben Shapiro, he's got a video called "Why Would Democrats Do This?" which is a remarkably whiny video title. I mean, which fits his voice. He has a very whiny voice as well.
What are Democrats thinking? What are Democrats thinking? I don't get it.
I mean, I think they're mostly thinking that they would very much like to have this resistance to ICE blow over. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot to mention this, but it's worth mentioning once I find the fucking link. What? Oh, of course it's full screen. That's why I get. Sorry. Hang on for just a second. Because I just happened to notice this when I was looking at some videos out of Argentina. Miriam Bregman, who is a leftist politician with the Partido de Trabajadores Socialista. She's an MP there. And she was giving an interview where she was talking about how it was a disaster would strike if they, if people waited, opponents of Milei's government and their horrible far-right agenda to take labor rights back to, like, the Victorian period. If they didn't start the fight now, if they waited till elections, it would be too late. And she talks about how she can't say enough how impressed she is with the example being provided by the comrades in the Twin Cities. She called it a laboratory of good examples. And so that video I just linked to, I translated and subtitled that excerpt from the interview. Because I think it's important, especially comrades up in the Twin Cities, for them to hear people are really taking notice.
All over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed.
And look at the Democrats sitting there.
Of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
The big moment came, and the sort of announcement, the shot over the bow from the president, is when he overtly, in the middle of the speech, challenged the Democrats to stand in solidarity with Americans, and
with which Americans?
Not in solidarity with illegal immigration.
Okay, so what he's saying is, like, but he's using the definition, like, ICE and CBP are Americans, and anyone who doesn't like that is illegal immigration. Well, I mean, then Ben and Don should be pretty happy because the Democrats are very much pro-ICE. I mean, they're like the two honorable examples were just in that frame a second ago.
Democrats couldn't bring themselves to do it. This is smart. It is smart. Optically, it is a very smart thing to do.
Like, what?
Politically, it's a very smart thing to do. As I've said before, President Trump in a vacuum, pretty much any president in a vacuum, but Trump specifically, you see all the flaws.
I mean, I would like to see him in a vacuum. Like, just the full vacuum of space. I think that would be really neat. Then we could really see what he's like in a vacuum.
Right, the president is perfectly authentic. Whatever.
I mean, whatever the fuck that means.
Enters his brain, exits his mouth.
Or his ass.
Whatever he is thinking is on his face. And so what that means is when you just look at the president, well, you see all the flaws. But when you...
yeah, I mean, admittedly, you really can't miss them unless you're Ben Shapiro and you are paid not to see them.
Put him next to Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. Suddenly he looks like a knight in shining armor.
To whom? Like, to whom, really? Because they were just showing some vague nod to decency, which is admittedly not something you see in Congress every day.
Because the Democrats are so awful. They're so god-awful.
Oh, the Rashida and Ilhan, they didn't clap for his fave. This is what happens when it turns out that somebody doesn't actually have the same, to belong to the same fandoms as Ben.
So here was Donald Trump saying a very obvious proposition and daring Democrats to sit on their hands, which they did.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Yeah, it's a bullshit proposition. And, I mean, just as a legal proposition, no. And also, like, fuck that.
And look at the Democrats sitting there.
Of yourself, not
well, like, which Democrats, though? As far as I can tell, he's only shown 2 of them.
Standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, again, what are Democrats thinking?
Well, I mean, I would imagine they're looking at the polls and they know that the majority of the population would like to get rid of ICE. Like, they know, even, like, fucking Schumer, to whom any room he walks into is a book with 7 seals. Even Schumer has realized that ICE polls like shit, and you have to at least appear to oppose it.
What are Democrats thinking? I don't get it.
Like, of course you don't. That's why you're paid to tell us your analysis of things, because you never get it.
What do they lose if they stand and they say, sure, like they don't give like the raucous cheers, but they stand up and they.
Well, I think what they lose is the support of the people whose vote they need. They lose all credibility is the thing. Why won't Democrats just give up all of their credibility, even the undeserved credibility, to make Ben happy?
Of course. I mean, duh. What else would the first duty of the American government to be? To protect people who are not American citizens? What the hell are you talking about?
To dissolve itself.
Democrats sitting on their hands on what a giant fail. Again, that was scripted, right? That was in the speech. There are certain things the president did last night that were not, where he was...
Like, how is it a fail, though? Because it pisses off Ben Shapiro? I think the people who were sitting, who actually remained seated, they probably would not consider that a fail. They're probably not trying to get Ben Shapiro's support.
Having fun with the crowd. The president is basically a stand-up comedian. And he's an insult...
I mean, yes, like, sort of like Louis C.K. is, I suppose.
Comic. And so he has a lot of fun batting it around with the Democrats. But that was written in. You can see it. He's reading when he says this. And Democrats could not bring themselves to do the most obvious thing.
Oh, I mean, I think they did. I mean, the ones that he's talking about, the two he's talking about, did the most obvious thing.
Now, there are two possibilities for why this is.
Well, I mean, one is that I think Rashida and Ilhan, of like everybody in Congress, I do think that they have some genuine convictions and that they act according to them, even when it is not probably the best way to get in the good graces of the party leadership. So I think probably they were sitting on principle, so to speak. But also, at the moment, the best way to completely make yourself irrelevant is to, as a supposed opposition party, is to stand and, like, clap like a seal when a historically unpopular fascist asshole of a president tells you to.
One is the nefarious possibility, and one is the stupid possibility.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about the nefarious.
The stupid possibility is the Democrats, on a generic level, agree that American citizens come first, but they hate Trump so much that they cannot bring themselves to stand up and cheer because they're afraid that their psychotic base will get angry at them for acknowledging the obvious.
Wow. So, wait, that's the stupid reason is that they're doing this to pander to the people who they need to vote for them. That's the stupid reason, apparently. I mean, I would have thought that was the nefarious reason. Because the idea there is that they actually don't genuinely mean it. But okay.
And that is the stupid explanation. Then there's the nefarious explanation, which is they actually do not agree that Americans should come first, that American citizens are the top priority, that somehow they believe that illegal immigrants in the country ought to be treated exactly the same.
Well, maybe there's, like, context going on. And maybe the concept of illegal immigrants, which is a nonsense term, which has no basis in U.S. immigration law, just have to point that out. Maybe that is a bullshit concept in the first place. Maybe nobody should give a shit about whether their neighbor's papers are in order.
Same, as though they've not broken the law as legally papered Americans, as U.S. citizens, as green card holders and all the rest. And if they believe that, that's crazy town. But it doesn't matter. For optical reasons, it doesn't matter why they're doing what they're doing. It's incredibly dumb.
Wait a second. It doesn't matter. He just explained that in the first version of this, the assumption is they're doing it because they know the optics are good with the people whose support they need. And then he says the second reason has nothing to do with that. But then he says no matter what, the optics suck. Well, it sounds like actually from their perspective, if we accept your first version, which I actually think is a pretty reasonable, he called it the stupid explanation. I thought it was actually more I would have called it the nefarious explanation. Then we have to accept that actually, just because the optics don't look nice to Ben Shapiro, that doesn't mean the optics are bad for their purposes.
Calling it out, this was just the beginning, because over and over...
Oh, it was just the beginning. I mean, it's amazing. If you have ever watched the way the legislatures of other countries behave in these situations, how the opposition in particular will act in the legislatures of other countries, the way there's this reverent silence and everything is actually kind of low-key creepy and, you know, very fascist coded. In other countries, the opposition will barrack. They will actually, it's just a normal thing they will do. You know, the fucking, if you watch Prime Minister's Questions or whatever, on, like, the British Parliament, the fucking, you know, the PM, whatever ghoul that is, will be up there saying something, and then you will hear from the back benches, "What a load of bollocks!" You know, just fucking, I mean, that is a normal thing, and you find that in Germany. You find that that is a normal thing in parliaments, because the thing is, people expect when their party, when it's in opposition, to act like an opposition, and that doesn't mean sitting there in reverent silence when their adversary, the leader of their adversary, is telling a bunch of shit, or a bunch of things that they just vehemently oppose, even if in some cases they're not a bunch of shit.
And over. He beat them over the head with their own idiocy.
How?
With their own optic delusions.
Optic delusions. I think that's optical illusions, actually.
Truly, it was amazing.
I mean, of course Ben Shapiro has his finger on the pulse here.
There came a point where President Trump was talking about fraud. He mentioned the Somali community in many...
Yeah, I mean, and let's just remember that the operative definition of fraud here is that a daycare facility that gets a knock on the door from a random white dude with a camera crew is required to provide them with other people's children on demand. And if they don't do that, that means there's fraud. That's the definition here. Which, I mean, if that sounds a little bit Epstein-pilled to you, you're probably not the only one who thinks that.
Minneapolis. And he proceeded to get in a yelling match with Ilhan Omar, who could not hold it back. And again,
well, yeah, because he was just lying blatantly.
These images are so bad for Democrats.
Really? Is it, though? I mean, it is what's been the reason that the Democrats have been totally unable to profit from the historic unpopularity of this government, despite supposedly being the opposition, is they don't act like an opposition. They don't even pretend well for the most part. So the idea that Ilhan is like shooting herself in the foot by pointing out that this is a pack of lies?
My understanding is the Democrats had been told by leadership, if you want to show up and not clap, fine. But please don't provide performative spectacle for the president to rip.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to look like an opposition. So, wow, so Ben Shapiro is here, like, agreeing with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. The fact that Ben Shapiro is scolding Tlaib and Omar for not listening to Schumer and Jeffries ought to be extremely embarrassing to Schumer and Jeffries.
Off of.
But it won't be.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. The other thing that obviously makes a huge difference here is this is, again, where the president understands how visuals work. The president...
I love it when he tries to make it seem like Trump is just terribly clever, as opposed to just basically being a drunk on a bus.
The president is standing on a dais. He is up. The members of Congress...
Oh, he understands relative physical positions. Next thing you know, Ben will be like, see, the wild thing about Trump, this is where he's just head and shoulders above his competition. The wild thing about Trump is that when you do this, when you go like this, he knows your face is still there.
Are in the crowd. They are down. They do not have a microphone. He does have a microphone, so you can...
Okay, so the brilliance of Trump is that he knows he has a microphone.
You can't even hear what they're yelling. You just hear them heckling the president and yelling at him, but you can't hear quite what they're yelling at him. And you can hear him slap them down, because he's...
Well, okay, but...
got the mic, and he's got the physical position And
so wait, so the great strategic brilliance is that he yelled back at people who were heckling him. That, wow, he's truly, if this were a Darman video, Trump would be solving all the Rubik's Cubes. He understands up. He understands down. He knows what a fucking microphone is. A fucking microphone. He knows microphone. He knows not microphone. He understands talk. Like, wow. My hero.
What are they thinking? And I understand what they're thinking.
Oh, okay. I can't wait for this.
Ilhan Omar is thinking, I'm the resistance. I'm the hero.
I mean, I don't know if that's what she's thinking, but if she's thinking people are expecting me in particular to make some meaningful show of opposition to this bullshit that has caused two people in oh, fuck. Sorry about that, chat. Can't believe I was trying to adjust my position in my chair, and instead I kicked the table that the computer is on. I'm back now. I think she's saying that she knows that people are fucking putting their lives on the line in the Twin Cities, and she represents the Twin Cities, and so if she doesn't show up, at least somewhat close to the level that they're at, that they will be disappointed. Maybe that's why.
You looked awful. You looked terrible because, I mean, first of all, the bitterness against America is written.
The bitterness against America.
All over Ilhan Omar's face.
He means she's black.
This is a person who despises the fundamental basis of the country, truly.
I mean, yeah, she probably doesn't think very highly of slavery.
Truly. And so does Rashida Tlaib.
I wonder why she would have any problem with the U.S. I mean, it's not like the U.S. has been genociding her people for going on 3 years now.
Her cohort, who is sitting next to her, wearing watermelon earrings in solidarity with Hamas supporters.
He can't bring himself to say Palestinians. And also, when you are Palestinian, which she is, it isn't solidarity. That's not the same thing. Solidarity, really, in this context, is when you're not Palestinian and you support the Palestinian liberation struggle. When you're Palestinian and you wear watermelon earrings and a keffiyeh, you're Palestinian. Yeah, and you're drawing attention to the fact that you are Palestinian.
But here's the president going at it with Ilhan Omar.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Wow, God, the fucking comedy roast that's going on here. This is like the Onion. You ever see the Onion movie? And they had this hilarious bit where it's like a spoof of these comedy roast videos where everybody will go, all the insult comics will come and like have a go at like some person, some honoree or something like that, except they decided to do it where instead of like insult comics, it was just like fucking insults, and people were just getting up on the stage and yelling, "I fucked your wife!" and shit like that. Wow, shame on you. Should be ashamed of yourself. Wow. I'm sure that Ilhan Omar really gives a shit.
Standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Wow, that's, I mean, such rhetorical brilliance. I wonder if he thought of that in advance.
That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials.
I believe she was calling out, "You're murdering U.S. citizens."
Who block the removal of criminal aliens in many
Yeah, that's what she's saying. She's saying you're killing U.S. citizens.
cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country.
And yeah, I mean, if the Democrats as a whole had even the slightest dignity or willingness to even appear to be in opposition, they would be just disrupting the fuck out of this. Like, I mean, one thing, we were talking in the language stream yesterday about the documentaries La Batalla de Chile, and one thing that really comes out there is, see, they had an opposition parliament when Allende was president in Chile. And that opposition parliament did not want to give an inch. And so what they did was they made sure that absolutely nothing could get done. They used every fucking mechanism. They didn't give a shit whether it made any sense, whether it was actually justified. You know, when they didn't have mechanisms, they made up mechanisms, all just to disrupt the government and not allow them to govern. And they certainly would not have, like, stayed silent like this. So, because if you actually consider this man to be the sort of threat that a lot of Democrats pretend to consider him to be, then he needs to be stopped at all costs, and that includes the cost of fucking decorum. Like, seriously, fuck decorum in the first place.
And you should be
And I have these two benighted women screaming at the president.
Benighted women? What does he mean by that, I wonder?
Ilhan Omar giving like the full open hand to try and direct the sound. But I'm not...
Wow, he understands about fucking projecting your voice.
Not sure that there's a more irritating image than these two caterwauling America haters.
Caterwauling America haters? Jesus.
Screaming at the President of the United States. Truly. I'm not sure I've ever seen a more irritating image in politics.
I mean, like, he's... The wild thing is that he talks about it. He talks about how this annoys the hell out of him. And then he's like, but why the hell would they do this? Maybe actually some of them have worked out that when you annoy the hell out of guys like Ben Shapiro, it wins them votes because most people hate guys like Ben Shapiro.
I've seen a lot of irritating images in politics, but Ilhan Omar, who has a constant face of disdain for the country that has given her everything on her face, pasted on her face.
Given her everything. Given her which everything?
Rashida Tlaib, who bitterly despises America's place in the world.
Well, you mean because of the genocide? See, I'm going to try to put it in language that maybe Ben Shapiro will understand. But, I mean, I get the feeling... Let's say you were from a place called Alderaan. Okay? And you had, and that place, it just got blown the fuck up one day. Just for larks. And then you had to sit through a speech by the guy who fucking did that. Or is currently doing more of that. Would you be inclined to just let him finish, or would you want to yell at him a bit? Would you perhaps feel a little bit of bitterness?
There and screaming at the president, while Rashida Tlaib is wearing a pin that, I kid you not, says F ICE, but...
I mean, what about the other pin about releasing the files?
It's not blurred out.
Wow, holy shit. She said F ICE, except it's not blurred out. That really makes Ben Shapiro mad. Why would anyone want to make Ben Shapiro mad? That doesn't make sense to Ben Shapiro. Like, I do not it is just wild to me. This is not just a Ben Shapiro thing. This is, I mean, you see this with the entire right-wing bullshitosphere. Like, I don't know if it's an inability or an unwillingness to even consider what this looks like from the other end. Like, I try to analyze things from the other end because, you know, when you're trying to figure out how to defeat somebody, when you need to actually understand your adversaries in order to do that. And so, understanding what something looks like from their perspective is a useful exercise. But these guys... You never see any sign of it. And I think part of that is that if they acknowledge the other perspective, they're already moving in the direction of acknowledging that they are not, in fact, that their target audience is not, in fact, anything approaching majority in the country. And on that note, I think I am going to have to leave you. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and if you enjoyed the stream and would like to contribute to my other projects, I'm trying to raise $450 right now for the next installment in the Punto Final translation project. I'm going to just drop that link into chat for anyone who wants it. And also the link to the translations that have been done so far. Come on, mouse, do the... This mouse is annoyingly jerky sometimes. Okay, have a good night, and see you tomorrow at